But I guess I'm really curious, how do you go about implementing taking away FDIC insurance? Because
well, I think you've got to. I think it's good maybe to phase it out. I mean, right now, I mean, even though it's supposed to only apply to now, it's I think 250,000.
Yeah, until like 2 or 3 years from now.
You know, that was not a good idea. I mean, we want if somebody has $250,000,
right?
You think they have enough sense to do a little research before they just drop their money in a bank. It's not difficult to do. But the problem is when the government comes in and says, don't worry about anything, the government has insured the account, so just deposit it anywhere you want, don't bother doing research. The moral hazard that you also send the bank is no one cares about how much risk you take. So take all the risk you want. Now the government has to regulate. So what happens is once you insure the bank deposits,
and I get that.
Now the government has to regulate. But they don't do a good job. And of course the other problem is there's no money. I mean, there's the FDIC, and it takes money from the banks. But if you get a really big bank failure, the FDIC doesn't have enough money. So it's a taxpayer bailout. And what they end up doing is they have to print money to bail out the banks, which means the depositors lose anyway. Because your money loses its value. So I mean, we have to move away from that type of government guarantee that it distorts the market and allow the market to function, allow people to make decisions. If you want to say, look, really small accounts, $1,000, $5,000, if you have, maybe they don't know, but if somebody has $100,000, $200,000, I mean, you think that they can spend the time. I mean, people before they buy a plasma TV, most people do a lot of research, they get a consumer reports, they figure out which one is the best value, which one, is the best maintenance. They don't do any research when they open up a bank account. That's because of the government. So, we need to stop that, and we can have a sounder banking system if market forces rein in the excesses instead of depending on government regulators who end up being corrupted by the banks they regulate, and it just doesn't work.
Okay. I guess 2 more questions. I'm sorry. I know you've got other people to talk to.
All right. Oh, it's already. What? Don't throw it out. Don't throw it out. I'm still eating it.
Okay.
Really good.
I'll be right back.
I guess
that's all that's left.
I'm really interested in the idea, your ideas about the involvement that the Fed should have, with regards to the money supply. I was always under the impression that sort of Friedman's role as one of Reagan's advisors in suggesting that the Fed should sort of have a really strict control over the money supply. I was under the impression that that was the cause of our economic prosperity during the early 90s.
Well,
isn't phasing that out kind of or kind of attacking that, sort of biting the hand that feeds?
No.
It is.
Well, money doesn't. Money is kind of like a means of distributing what we produce. Someone asked me that day, they said, well, the Chinese, they don't have enough money to buy their products. Well, you don't need money. The products create the purchasing power all on their own. It's like if you were stranded on an island and you lost your wallet at sea and you had no money with you, but you were hungry. If you killed a rabbit, you don't need any money to eat it. You just eat it because you killed a rabbit. But if all you had was a wallet with money, but you didn't go out and kill that rabbit, you'd have nothing to eat. So the money, it's production. But what you want, we use money as a means to distribute what we produce. And it's very efficient. But money has to be scarce, and it has to, you can't just keep creating it because then it loses its value. So what you want the central bank to do, if you're not on a gold standard where you have intrinsic value, the only thing the government can do, the central bank can do, is maintain a limited quantity of money, keep it scarce so that it can have its value. But if you keep creating money like they're doing now, you diminish its value.
2 to 3% inflation is supposedly a standard, we expect.
Well, no, I'd rather see falling prices. I don't want prices to rise.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Well, the politicians try to tell us that rising prices are bad. But why are they? I mean, when a store puts stuff on sale, don't you like sales? Aren't you more likely to go buy something when it's on sale?
I guess I always learned that deflation was a bad thing.
Well, our prices, if you can get a better deal on something, if a merchant lowers its price, do you like that, or would you rather have them raise the price?
Well, no, I would rather have them lower the price.
Then why is that bad?
But if the price falls if there's a trend of prices falling, isn't that bad for the market overall?
Do you remember the first cell phone you bought?
Well, but that technology is kind of...
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, you never... Well, for the first 100 years of the United States, from 1800 to 1900,
there was really
prices fell for 100 years. for 100 years. Prices, the CPI was half in 1900 what it was in 1800. So we had 100 years of falling prices. And we had the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
We had the whole movement of our country from an agrarian society to an industrial society. We had more growth in the 19th century than in the 20th century, and we had falling prices for the entire period. So it's good. It raises the value of people's wages. It raises the value of people's savings. Everybody does better. Even the companies, the businesses do better. Now, all the people that are making plasma TVs, when they were $10,000 a piece, very few people were buying them.
Right.
Now that they're under $1,000 each, they sell like hotcakes.
Right.
The companies are making more money selling them at $1,000 than they did when they sold them at $10,000. It's the falling prices that creates the additional demand. It's what allows people to buy products. So we want. I mean, wouldn't it be good? I mean, you want to go to college one day?
Well, I'm in college.
Would you like it if your tuition went down every year instead of up?
Yeah, I guess.
Of course. I mean, there's nothing you can think of where you're happy about the price going up. It's always better if it becomes more affordable. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if the price of gas was lower?
Sure.
Yeah, what if food was cheaper? Why are only in the government's world of economics is that a bad thing? Oh, no, we have to make sure that prices go up. Why? It makes no sense at all.
Right. Okay, and I'm sorry, one more question.
Yeah, okay.
Just with regards to your views on regulation, I mean, I agree that the government should that there are a lot of regulations the government does that are probably really harmful to the market. But I'm curious, how do you feel about outsourcing and about sort of how that's sort of hurting manufacturing and jobs?
Well, you have to understand why are companies outsourcing. Instead of trying to figure out how to stop the outsourcing, why don't we look to the root cause? Because these are individual businesses making decisions to try to be as profitable as they can, which is what we want. We want our companies to be efficient so that they can give us low-cost goods.
Right.
So we want those market-based incentives. But what we have to ask ourselves is, why is it that companies that used to be able to manufacture here, why do they now have to go abroad? And the reason is, well, we have a lot of regulations that we didn't have in the past. We have a lot of taxes that we didn't have in the past. We have done things to undermine the productivity of our businesses. So why don't we undo those things? Why don't we give American businesses an incentive to employ Americans the way they used to? China's always been here. We weren't sending jobs to China, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. What's changed? Well, China's changed, but we've changed too.
Right.
We've changed for the worse. They've changed for the better. So we need to adjust that. We can't just try to stop it from happening.
Right.
Because, if we don't get to the root cause of the problem, it's like if you have a cancer, you decide to put a Band-Aid on it, it's not going to make it go away. You got to treat it. Right? That's what I want to do.
Okay. Well, thanks. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you.